Hey, DPC Nation, this is Dr. Shane. I'm coming to you live from the North Carolina Academy Winter Conference here in Asheville, North Carolina. Just want to spend some time sharing with some tips with you guys on a Friday. I usually do the DPC Magic Friday 5-minute magic tip. So I wanted to share something special on this Friday as I'm out of town. Have a special guest with us today who I'm going to introduce briefly. So I wanted to just get together and talk about some cool things that's happening in the DPC world today. So I hope all you DPC rebels are out there, all the resistant fighters. Hope you're listening in, and tell your friends about these little magic tips I do on Friday, usually around 12:05, a little earlier today due to conference schedule reasons, but tell your friends. It's on YouTube. It's on my Facebook page, DPC Magic, and also on LinkedIn. Today, I have awesome chance to talk with what many folks believe to be a DPC legend, and I certainly am grateful he's here with us to chat today. We have with us today Mr. Tom White from Cherryville, North Carolina. So I want to just meet with Tom and ask him a few things about doing DPC in our communities. And Tom is a family physician doing DPC in Cherryville, North Carolina. Actually has two physicians that work with him as partners, and they actually have a second location in Shelby, North Carolina. And so they're continuing to grow, and those are small communities. So just letting you guys know, DPC can be done anywhere. It doesn't have to be in a massive town. People need help everywhere. And so it's awesome to be able to have Dr. Tom with us today. Tom, if you'll just talk a little bit about your practice and how you got started. I know it's called Hometown Direct Care because it is your hometown. That's where you started. And so just talk a little bit about your practice and how you got to be where you are.
Sure. Well, Shane, thanks for doing this, and thanks for all you do for direct primary care. You've, you're all over social media. You've been a leader, an educator, an inspiration for so many of us. So I just want to thank you. Second, you used the word legend. I just want to remind folks that Bigfoot is a legend. They're the Loch Ness monster. So
right.
Yeah, so I may be a legend. I may not even be. Not everything you hear is true.
You're a real legend.
Well, so yeah, I'm in Cherryville, North Carolina, which is a small community of about 6,000, an hour northwest of Charlotte. Grew up there and had a very similar path to direct primary care as probably most everyone that's in DPC or is in a traditional practice and thinking about going to DPC. In about 2013, I actually made the decision here at this winter conference here at the Grove Park Inn that I was going to go home and on Monday turn in my resignation. And I knew enough about DPC that I thought that's what I wanted to do. It still took me a few months to do my homework and talk to folks and plan, but it was at this very meeting that I made the decision to resign. I didn't tell my wife I was resigning.
Wow.
She found out on Monday when I did it.
Wow.
But she trusted the process because she knew I was unhappy.
Right.
She knew my patients were unhappy. And if I had not done that, I would have had no future in medicine at age 60 and not sure I would have had good health had I not. So opened up my practice in early 2015. 2017, Dr. Josh Carpenter came and we opened a second office in nearby Shelby, North Carolina.
Right.
And then a little more than a year ago, Dr. Brianna Buchanan came and joined us from the Campbell program, and she's been in our Cherryville office since August of last year.
That's awesome. And things are still doing well, staying busy, progressing?
Doing well, still growing. I think when I look back on the past 3 years with COVID, I think we all had a lot of anxieties. I think it's evident that direct primary care was very well prepared for a pandemic.
Mm.
We were used to providing care in different kinds of
Right.
ways. We were flexible.
Right.
We weren't just dependent on heads through the door and
Yep.
insurance codes. We didn't have to wait for special codes for virtual medicine. We were ready to go day one. I
Right.
remember seeing the video of Ryan Newhoffel out in his parking lot
Mm.
doing his COVID testing.
Yep.
Well, that wouldn't have happened in a traditional practice, certainly not in an owned practice where
Mm.
you would have had to go through 8 committees to
Yeah.
get permission to go to the parking lot.
That's right.
So I think we were very well prepared, and I think our practice did surprisingly well during COVID. I think
That's awesome.
everyone I've talked to feels the same.
Yeah, most DPC practices across the country, I've only heard good things.
Yeah.
From COVID.
Yeah.
So that's very good. One thing I wanted to touch on today, Tom, is you've been actively involved in the North Carolina Academy and maybe even on a higher level in the American, the larger Academy of Family Practice. And so you've been super involved. I know you were the past president of North Carolina Academy at one point.
Right.
So how can we, get DPC more into the mainstream with our academies, more our local society, medical societies, try to get involved there, really push more of the DPC narrative. Hey, this is a legitimate process. We are supported by the American Academy of Family Practice.
Right.
A lot of people may not know that, but
Right.
So how do we get out there? I know today we're at the North Carolina Academy Conference. You're speaking tomorrow about DPC, which is a good opportunity. So I want to try to encourage people and have you encourage people to get involved, and so we can push DPC out there and let residents know about it, students know about it, and other physicians who are maybe struggling like you were.
Right. So, yeah, I've been involved with the North Carolina Academy and the American Academy, virtually since residency. And, we all have our different perspectives. My perspective was that without the North Carolina Academy, without the American Academy, I wouldn't have had hospital privileges in all likelihood when I entered practice. I wouldn't have been able to work in the ICU. So it's because of our professional associations that a lot of doors were opened for us in family medicine and have remained open. And again, I'm old enough to remember those days when hospitals said, well, you're a family doctor, you can't read EKGs in our hospital. Today, we sort of take that for granted, like, of course we can. But so I still have this appreciation for what our associations have done. I think a point I'd want to make here, Shane, is that I think patients, communities get the DPC concept quite easily. Now, some never do, right? But most, when you explain what you're doing and how you're doing it, they get it. I actually think it's other physicians that just don't get it.
Yep.
And part of that is they're tied up in their own job, their own career. They're scared to make change. Everyone's been scared to make change during COVID, I think. But you've talked often about this Stockholm syndrome.
Right.
And so there's a lot of that. But I think, I think patients get it quicker sometimes than our physician colleagues. So it's really important at the national level and our state levels for us to get on the stage, get on committees, and clarify direct primary care to our colleagues, and particularly to residents and students who are being told your only real option is to go to work for the system that's training you, right? You're a resident, you're working for the big system. They're being told daily, we've got a job for you, we're going to pay you really well. And they haven't heard much else. And it's our job to tell them that there's an option.
Right.
I'm going to talk about something tomorrow afternoon, though, that I think has been understated and it's important. And that is, as much as we want all medical students and residents to choose primary care and direct primary care, and we want as many of our colleagues to convert as you and I did to DPC, I think we need to work even harder, even though this is a secondary objective. I think we need to work even harder to make the rest of primary care DPC-like. If we can't change the whole system,
Right.
let's work toward telling that person who's still in a traditional practice, you need to take care of fewer people.
Right.
You need to be able to spend more time with them. You need to be unburdened by these coding and all these other things that they live under. So maybe they can't or don't choose to go purely to what you and I did, which we know is the preference. That's the best route.
Right.
But if you can't do that, then I think we need to work on encouraging folks that practices the healthcare system to become more DPC-like. That's really important, and that's what we can do in our local medical societies, our state associations at the national level. We won't change everyone to DPC overnight, but maybe we can influence healthcare.
Yeah.
What do you think about that?
I think that's the critical part. I mean, the influence is the word, basically. Like trying when we're at these meetings and groups and sitting around with other physicians who are maybe in larger academic institutions or whatever, trying to at least have a seat at the table where we can say, hey, here's how we're doing it and how we're doing it a little bit different in defining what DPC is. And, you know, there's a lot of people get that confused with concierge and how we need to talk about how that's different.
Yes.
I think there's can be some bad connotations to that word.
Yeah.
And so trying to clarify all that, and you know, I know the AFP, the big papa, the big national level, on a national level, they've frequently wanted to get more and more answers and advice on, you know, how do we do less coding, how do we spend more time with patients, you know, how do we pay family doctors for the work they're doing, and not more billing and coding to get paid for that work.
Yeah.
And so I know there's a lot of talk about that, and we sort of get frustrated in the DPC world because we're over here going, that's what we're doing. We're doing it already.
Exactly. Yeah.
And so what you're asking for is out there.
And there's no amount of yoga that will fix that frustration of living in that 28 patients a day, working in that system. There's no amount of yoga or a scribe or a weekend off that will fix that, right?
It won't. It's very difficult to fix it. The only way you can do is, I mean, it's all about time, whether it's time with patients, time to do your charts, time to do, you know, referrals, the things that you need to do.
Time to take care of yourself. Yeah.
And all of it's about time, and the only way you can put time into the equation is see less patients so you have more time for everything.
Yeah. It's a basic concept.
So this has been great. We're having a great time here in North Carolina at Asheville. Lots of learning going on here. A lot of students and residents here. Spoken with several of those folks already, and so we're here supporting DPC. There's, I think, 7 or 8 of us, maybe more than that. We had 7 or 8 meeting yesterday, and so we're sharing DPC here as much as we can, and learning some good medical stuff too. So
we have over 800 attendees at this meeting every year, which is huge. We have to turn people away, unfortunately, but
there are people come from everywhere. I mean, there's people from all over the country at this meeting.
Yeah, and there'll be a lot of medical students and residents, and hopefully tomorrow when we talk to them, we can get their interest.
Right.
We can tell them there is an alternative. They don't have to do what they're being told to do, and so bit by bit, hopefully we can begin to change things around.
So Tom and I want to definitely encourage you guys, go out to your conferences, go to your state conference, go to your county medical society meetings, be seen, talk to people, introduce yourself, you know, get your 5-minute spiel ready about how you do different, you know, go ahead and talk to people. That's how you're going to learn and get more patients and get more involvement in the DPC. So y'all have a great Friday. Hope it's going to be a great weekend where you're at. I know we're going to have fun here this weekend. And I just have one last thing to say. Go Dogs. Got to pull it off tomorrow. We need it. Okay. Have a great day, everybody.